Dr. Mark Changizi here with your Science Moment. Today I'm going to talk about not knowing. A lot of the stuff that we talk about is hard. For example, in 2 or so Science Moments ago, I did 2 of them on abortion. And in one, I'm pointing out some sorts of logical fallacies that have been known for 2,000 years. And both sides of the argument, the extreme views on both sides, suffer from this, the Sorites paradox or slippery slope fallacy. And also other kinds of fallacies concerning the signs that you're in a kind of community that's created a virtue position was the one after that. Both sides have all the hallmark features of holding positions which are absurd by design. Now, poking holes and showing in people's arguments is one thing, or showing people signs that they may be, in a community that's not per se having a position that is rational so much it is selected for to be absurd so that it serves as memberships. Things like this is one thing. But a lot of people say that they come to me and say, hey, okay, Mark, that's great, but fine, but what actually is your theory? What is your position for when a fetus becomes a person, or when more generally abortion should be allowed versus not being allowed? And my short answer is I don't know. Look, this is not merely a balance of, or the issue of when a zygote fetus becomes a person. It also is the issue about when you want to disallow it, you're balancing the bodily autonomy of the woman and the family involved, and that issue concerns a lot about whether the state, so for example, in other countries, things could be quite different. Anybody even at 8.5 months who, if they deliver the baby at all, then they are likely to potentially lose their own life, the mother, because in some Islamic countries, it's as good as death, an end of your own life if you do that. So now the issue about aborting an 8.5-month-old fetus changes entirely, right? So the damages depend, and where that line is can depend a lot upon what is going on in terms of the state and how authoritarian and dangerous they are. So these are very difficult issues, and obviously there's going to be parameters that depend upon the nature of the government and how much one trusts it or how dangerous it is. But handling both of these problems, when a fetus becomes a person and balancing bodily autonomy with that coming to be person, is incredibly complicated. You should expect that it's going to be complicated. I'm a good theorist. I have a lot of discoveries in a lot of fields that I've hinted at over time. I've got 6 books about these kinds of discoveries. None of them involve issues about when something becomes a person. That's incredibly complicated. It's philosophically and scientifically complicated. What makes me think that I could solve this problem, that I have a specific answer that I can qualitatively say, here's when it happens and here's how to balance these things and here's the parameter that determines which, depending on which government you live under. These are incredibly complicated. So you need to have some humility when you're dealing with the most complicated topics that exists, and there's so much at stake, both lives of the individual life that's growing and coming to be a person, as well as the lives of all of the populace who could be under the thumb of a government who's trying to violate all of their rights at the expense, for the sake of the baby or the developing baby. All of these things are hard. So if I have the humility as a seasoned theorist to say, I don't know, maybe I'm working on it, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm pretty sure I'd never be able to come up with a great theory, so I'm just going to not even try, then maybe we all should have some humility to not believe that we know the answer to how to balance all of the issues and answer all of the issues that are at stake for abortion. And that was your Science Moment.